Sidney Powell reveals that the entire system is ready to blow up, and she promises it will be biblical. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest with Sidney Powell and the Trump legal team, why Powell is more empowered than ever to take down what she's identified as an entire system of government and corporate corruption, and how even CNN has inadvertently come to her aid, corroborating voter fraud on a massive scale. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you, ready to bring you our latest episode celebrating the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel, where each and every day we focus on optimism and encouragement in the midst of all the defeatist fake news nonsense spewed out by the mainstream media. Before we begin, I want you to click on the link below and head on over to our brand new site on the awesome new platform Superfans. Now, as we all know, cancel culture is in full swing, particularly with big tech, and that means that many content creators are under constant threat of being deplatformed and demonetized. Superfans is a brand new platform that was created specifically to offer content creators a safe haven for free speech and exercising their First Amendment rights. Superfans is a fusion of Patreon, Cameo, Subscribestar, and Instagram, but minus the judgment. When you click on that link below, you'll find a number of your favorite content creators already there. It's easy to sign up for and easy to enjoy all the benefits of being part of a single platform that features all the videos you love without ever having to worry about them getting canceled. So go to Superfans by clicking on the link below. Check out my content there, as well as a number of other content creators, and let's support our First Amendment rights together. All right, gang, so let's dive right in here. Sidney Powell is on fire. What we thought was an investigation to election fraud targeted in a few municipalities throughout the nation has turned into nothing short of a systemic international web of deliberate election interference and a radical violation of our national security. Now, in terms of the Trump campaign supposedly distancing itself from Sidney Powell, that's not true. At least that's not the reports we're getting from those closest to Sidney Powell. As I'm sure you're all aware, Jenna Ellis of Trump's legal team tweeted out yesterday that Sidney Powell, as it turns out, is not an official member of Trump's legal team. She's practicing law on her own. She's not a member of the team, and she is not one of President Trump's personal lawyers. Now, if you rely solely on CNN and MSNBC and all the fake news peddlers, they're all saying that Powell was dismissed from Trump's legal team because of her supposed Dominion conspiracy theories. That is emphatically not true. That is fake news, okay? Michael Flynn Jr., who's the son of General Mike Flynn, who was successfully represented by Sidney Powell, he took to Parler and he announced that this had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with Powell's statements or her investigation in Dominion. It has everything to do with money, okay? Sidney Powell has her own separate legal entity for monetary donations, which is separate from the Trump campaign's fundraising arm. So they're keeping the two funding operations separate. Plus, they made it clear that Sidney Powell has the president's total confidence. She could pursue any line of inquiry that she likes without first having to run it by the president's legal team. All right. So it seems that for funding reasons as well as for investigative reasons, Sidney Powell is being given her publicly acknowledged independence, which is important strategically. Steve Bannon was talking about this in the War Room earlier today. Sidney Powell is what he's calling a free option. She's going after something so deep and systemic that it can unravel it all. It's a massive criminal investigation, really unlike anything we've ever seen. But the problem is that Rudy is under the clock. Okay, Rudy Giuliani has until December 14th to get all of this litigated and get the certificates blocked so that the election has to go to the House of Representatives. So he's focused on 5 or 6 states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. We talked about this earlier today. So they're up against the clock with the ground game of challenging the results in these 5 or 6 states through a combination of equal protection arguments and the violation of constitutional standards, with non-legislative officials unconstitutionally prescribing the time, place, manner of the election. And as we argued in our last video earlier today, that's the path to victory that can happen well before December 14th. Supreme Court Justice Sam Alito has telegraphed that path to victory. Harvard constitutional professor Alan Dershowitz has corroborated it's likely that such a path will indeed be successful. So Rudy's team is laser focused on stopping the certification or overturning the vote certification of these states and getting this election in the House of Representatives where Trump will win re-election easily. Okay, now, if anything, what all of that means is that what Powell has in the works is going to be even more biblical than originally promised. You may have heard about that. Sidney Powell promised that she's filing a lawsuit in Georgia that's going to absolutely blow up the state, and that's going to be nothing short of, in her words, biblical in proportion and in nature. Powell revealed in a recent interview on Newsmax that Georgia is going to be, in her words, the first state that she's going to blow up. Jordan Sekulow is the son of Jay Sekulow, who's one of Trump's closest attorneys. Jordan is working with Sidney Powell, and he just reiterated the other day on Newsmax TV that they are filing a lawsuit sometime today or tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday, that will be utterly shocking. That was his word. There will be new allegations that no one has heard of as of yet, and it's going to apparently involve the lieutenant governor of Georgia, as well as the ridiculous never-Trumper Secretary of State who ran that sham recount. So that's going to be fun to see. We'll obviously be keeping our eyes on those developments here. But did you notice what Sidney Powell said? Georgia's going to be the first state I blow up. There are many more to come. Powell is ready to come in and blow up the entire system here. And so it's no coincidence that Jack Dorsey over at Twitter, however directly or indirectly, made sure that Powell was suspended on Twitter for at least 12 hours. And in a response given to CBS News, Powell said simply, "The chips will fall where they may, and we will defend the foundations of this great republic." And then she signed off with the hashtag Kraken on steroids, referring to her promise that they're going to be releasing the Kraken in terms of revealing the massive amount of voter fraud in this election. Now, ironically, Sidney Powell's case against the rampant corruption inherent in Dominion voting systems and their Smartmatic software has an unlikely ally, and that, if you can believe it, is none other than CNN. But first, make sure you download our free gift just for you by clicking on the link below. It's called our Fake News Antidote, speaking of CNN. It's a compilation of about 20 sites that I go to for my news each and every day, all conservative, all celebrating Trump and nationalist populism. We need these news resources now more than ever, and you can download your own copy of our Fake News Antidote completely free at the link down below in the pinned comments section. You're going to love it. You're going to have this ready list of your go-to sites that you will definitely enjoy. It's going to inspire you through this whole insane election process, and it's yours absolutely free by clicking on the link below. It is my gift to you. All right, let's get back to that fake news, shall we? You heard that right. CNN is inadvertently helping Powell's case against Smartmatic and Dominion voting systems. And that's because an old 2006 episode of the Lou Dobbs Show on CNN has resurfaced, which found out that Smartmatic, it reported that Smartmatic was owned by officials in Venezuela who were very close to Hugo Chavez at that time. And they were concerned back in 2006 that such software was going to interfere with our democracy. Here's a direct quote from CNN. Quote, "Smartmatic, the electronic voting machine manufacturer whose machines are notorious for failures." It's like reading a parallel universe from what we hear on CNN today. "Smartmatic, the electronic voting machine manufacturer whose machines are notorious for failures, is based in Venezuela. The Treasury Department, which is supposed to look into connections between sensitive U.S. infrastructure and foreign interests, has failed yet again to protect the American people. What is more important than the correctness of our democracy?" 19,000 voting machines were used in a Cook County primary, Cook County in Illinois, county for Chicago. So you don't get more Democrat than that. But back in March of 2006, people voted in a primary that used Smartmatic software on 19,000 voting machines, and the CNN expose revealed that Smartmatic was owned by Venezuelans who were close to Chavez, and that when some of the machines weren't working correctly during that Cook County primary, there were over a dozen Venezuelan employees on site to help them out. And to make it even worse, the headquarters for Smartmatic was technically located in Boca Raton, Florida, but the owner, Smartmatic, testified to the Chicago City Council that fewer than a dozen Smartmatic employees worked in Florida. The majority of them all worked in Venezuela. And the response by Chicago officials, virtually all Democrats, was of course one of outrage. Why on earth would American elections be held by computer systems that put citizens of another country in charge of our voting? Now again, if you watch the video, you're going to see guest after guest conclude that this was nothing short of a massive national security issue and that could not continue to go unaddressed and rectified by the highest levels of our government. And here we are 14 years later, and those very same cable news outlets are telling us there's nothing to see. That this election, which used Smartmatic software in 2,000 counties and 30 states, was the most pristine election we've ever had. I think we've discovered the real election frauds. And it's CNN. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video I just posted, speaking of CNN, of how CNN, of all places, is panicking as vote certification in Pennsylvania and Michigan are, in fact, in doubt. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.